Okay, you guys, welcome to our Body Electric weekly webinar. We are rounding out the month of March already, and it is all about Ultimate Portion Fix. So what we wanted to do tonight was just touch on the group we have coming up, which will be a dual team-led event. So just as a heads up, my success partner, Natalie Johnson, her team is called Warrior Nation. We've decided to call ourselves Warrior Electric for the sake of Body Nation would just be weird. So we have sort of a dual team effort here. A lot of our team's leaders and her team's leaders have been collaborating a lot since the first of the year just on various things. And so we thought, why not put our heads together and our hearts together and lead this group together? So this is going to be, our usual team-led group, but we'll be joining with her team as well. And so what I wanted to do for you guys tonight was just kind of go over requirements to be in that group, requirements to lead that group, what the group will look like on a daily basis, what we're going to be requiring or requesting from our challengers, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So here we go. So we're calling it the Fix Life group, which I like because it's super simple and it really is all about a lifestyle. For those of you guys who have, been doing the 21-day fix or portion fix system now, for me, it's been over 5 years since it came out. I've been doing it since day one. It has been a lifestyle for my family. So the purpose of this group is obviously to lead people through this program and through the content, the 30 days of content with the program. But honestly, we're hoping to set them up for a lifetime of success. So that's the idea behind Fix Life. So a couple of quick announcements. Right now in our Finding Fulfillment group, we have so far 2 videos that have been posted. Yesterday, Katie Kelly from our team shared a short video with her story. Today, Jennifer Tunney shared one with hers. We have a couple of other coaches sharing their stories on Thursday and Friday. So hopefully you guys are part of that Finding Fulfillment group. You're inviting people to tune in. For me personally, I did a lot of follow-ups with the people that I had in the group last month who wasn't their time yet to become a coach. I did a lot of follow-ups with them just to say, hey, there's going to be fresh content happening in the group. But yeah, make sure that you're adding people as, throughout this week or even next week, right? Like forever. You should just be always constantly inviting people to this Finding Fulfillment group. So the recordings, all the different videos that are shared in that group will live there. So the videos will never be deleted out. All of the coach stories and testimonials will stay there. So there's always going to be something for you to invite to when it comes to the business opportunity. So just keep that in mind, plug that into your weekly goals when it comes to your invites. Make sure you have a certain amount of coach invites that you want to be sending on a weekly basis to people and get them in there. Our Ultimate Portion Fix Prep Week begins next week. I'm going to obviously be talking about that here in this webinar. So a couple announcements that have been made on the Success Club cruise. First of all, I'm super excited for this one. This has been like a lifetime in the making for me. Can't wait for this. So Vegan Recover is finally coming. So right now we finally have a Recover supplement that doesn't have the whey protein in it. There's nothing wrong with whey protein. It's just for me personally, it being somebody who can't tolerate dairy. I have always, literally you guys, the current whey formula of Recover is the only dairy I consume. It's the only dairy that I've consumed for 7 or 8 years. So, and I do it only because it helps my soreness so much that it's worth the little bit of stomach pain the next day for me to endure it. So I'm excited for the Vegan Recover. They're saying mid to late May. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm sure there'll be more in the breaking news section of our Coach Online office. I did ask Natalie today, my success partner, about what all they've announced on the cruise, just so that I was in the know since I wasn't able to go. But she said the other big announcement besides Vegan Recover, and I didn't have a chance to put it in here, is that Beachbody is now going to be releasing new performance activewear, which will be available starting at Summit. So apparently the good news about this activewear is that it's all commissionable. So you guys know that right now the apparel we do not receive volume and commissions on. We will start to receive volume and commissions for this, she's calling it performance activewear. She said Jericho is kind of in charge of the whole thing as far as helping design the apparel, which makes me excited because she's kind of got that tomboy look that I like. but she's been showcasing a lot of it. She's been wearing a lot of it on the cruise. So if you're following her on social, you might see a little bit of it in her social media. So that's pretty cool too. Also saw this posted today. I wanted to share it with the team. If you haven't already signed up for Summit, or if you're a brand new coach and you're like, what are you talking about? Talk to your coach about Summit. It's happening in Indy this summer. It is the annual event to attend, and they're offering a ticket flash sale right now for $165 for a ticket, which is a crazy good deal. So make sure you grab that. Okay, so let's dive into this group. This group has been created. This is an old screenshot. I think as of today, there's now like 40 or 50 members in the group. But this group was created last week. So if you haven't had the opportunity to hop into that group, please notify your upline that you need added. Now, the requirement for you to get in there yourself is that you have to have purchased Ultimate Portion Fix and be an active coach, which means that you're on something, some sort of product, right? Whether it's Performance Line or Shakeology, whatever that looks like for you. So that's the requirement to be in the group itself. The group has been created. There has been a welcome post made. So when you go to add your coaches or customers, tag them in that welcome post and make sure that they know. I think the welcome post says something like, tell us a little bit about yourself. So tag your person or your client in the comments and say, hey, Becky, here's the group. Please, and introduce yourself as soon as you get a chance, right? That is your step one when it comes to your customers. So requirements to be in the group, like I said, as a coach, you must have purchased Ultimate Portion Fix and be active on 50 PV, whether it's Shakeology or Performance or whatever. If you're a customer or your customers must have purchased the Ultimate Portion Fix Challenge Pack or Completion Pack in order to be participating and be on an active order. So we do have some requirements for leading the group. So as you guys know, there are the certification became available when this released for coaches. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys, like 90% or more, have gone with the certification. When you purchased your Ultimate Portion Fix, you purchased the certification, which is the way to go. So you must be Ultimate Portion Fix certified master coach in order to help lead this group. And you must have achieved Success Club in March. So you must be bringing 3 people into this group to help them with Ultimate Portion Fix. We've never had these types of requirements before for leading a group, but we felt like this really is such a big deal. This program really is such a big deal, and it has such amazing potential to change so many people's lives. It shouldn't be difficult to make these requirements happen. I know most of you guys are already on your way to getting certified. Success Club is what you have left to go, right? So that's where we're at for requirements for leading the group. So we start our prep week next week, which, right, is like 4 days from now. So there will be a lead post every day for prep week. We will be following the calendar as outlined in the program itself. But that said, I wanted you guys to know that it's not ever going to be too late for you guys to add people to the group. So if somebody doesn't order today, or before Sunday, it's not like you can be like, well, if it's April 1st, they can't join this group. Over the course of the entire next week, you better believe I'm going to be adding people to that group during prep week. Okay, that doesn't mean that they still can't start with us. So it's not going to be too late to add them during prep week next week. If someone joins, however, after the 8th, which is sort of our first official day after the prep week is over, they're going to be able to be eligible for our next group, right? Which will most likely, we're thinking as of this point, be a second group. It won't live in that same group. It'll be a second group that we will run that will be the end of April. So if they come in after the 8th, that makes sense to me because obviously they won't be getting their Shakeology, their kit or anything for a week or so after that. So they have the chance to start with us, right? The week of April 1st, April 8th. After that, a couple weeks later, we'll be starting another group of this. So the group itself will be organized. There will be sort of lead posts assigned to those coaches who have met the requirements of Success Club and certification. And the challenge group guide that was created for this program, Natalie and I both feel like is a pretty decent challenge group guide. That said, anytime we copy and paste from the challenge group guide, we're sort of missing a level of personal touch, right? When it comes to connecting with the people in our group. So I want to make sure that we as coaches who are leading the groups sort of are listening to what the groups are saying, like what the people in the groups are saying, like if they're struggling with meal prep or if they're struggling with understanding how to interpret their caloric bracket or whatever. I'm assuming I'm kind of putting it on the leaders of this group to be listening to the group and really have a pulse on this so that they can incorporate that into their lead posts, okay? So we're encouraging you to use the challenge group guide as the basis of the lead posts, but we want you to incorporate your voice, things that you've heard, things that you want to offer tips on, and always include a photo in those lead posts. We're also requesting that the lead posts be posted by 6 a.m. So for those of you helping us lead, the lead posts have to be scheduled before 6 a.m. We just feel like it's consistent for those early bird workout people. It makes it simple and easy, and there's something for them to see right as soon as they get up or as soon as they finish their workout. So we don't want them waiting for it until later in the day. So here are some things that we have decided on for this group. So the daily check-ins, right? We had a long conversation about how we wanted our challengers to be checking into the group. In the past, the Body Electric team-led groups, we've asked people to check in with their win, right? Which is their workout, their inspiration, and their nutrition. I love that for most groups, but we felt like for those of you guys who have started looking at the Ultimate Portion Fix content, it's a lot of stuff, right? Like going through the materials, the videos, for people who are doing the workouts, like it's a lot of stuff to take on initially, especially for beginners. So we felt like, after talking about it, that the workouts really should be optional. I know that we as coaches right now are super, like I'm really excited to have like new workouts with Autumn for the 21-day fix and Fix Extreme. I'm really excited about it, but I'm not pushing it onto my people. So my people that are coming into this group who are mostly beginners, I want them to feel like they are becoming masters of nutrition, right? Like I want them to get down the container system, understanding how that works, and utilizing Fixate before they dive into the workouts. Because the last thing I want is for them to be like, I did my workout today, but my nutrition sucked. Because if they say that, we know that they are going to have crappy results. So because of that, we've decided to change our daily check-in. So the daily check-in every day each person will be required to take a picture of their completed workbook page for that day. Okay, that will literally, that's proof right there that they're following what they should be following. Okay, so that was our plan for the daily check-ins. We're still thinking about if we want to call that something, like if there's something fancy that we want to call that particular check-in, kind of like we call it the win. But that's what we're going to be asking people to use. Weekly Zoom calls. Okay, so weekly Zoom calls will allow us to build more community, check in face-to-face with people, and continue progress. So I've found this really funny, honestly, that we are at this point, because as I was creating this today, I was thinking about my very first challenge group ever, which was at least 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. The first challenge group I ever ran, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was during the holiday months, and I had like 4 women in the group. And at that time, we had chocolate or greenberry Shakeology. That was it. And these particular women were like, this was my first challenge group. It was like the first concept of a challenge group, right, for me. And I remember that one of the things I loved the most was that we did, at that time, Skype. We did a weekly Skype. And I couldn't always get a lot of engagement from them in the challenge group, like on Facebook, but I could always get them to open up and share more and plug in those weekly Zooms. And those weekly Skypes. I honestly feel like those Skypes were what led them to continue in that group, whereas they would have maybe formerly fallen off a lot sooner. So the weekly Zoom calls are going to be great because this program has a definite personal touch. There's a lot of one-on-one approach here. And so we felt like opening this up and making ourselves available for these challengers for this 30-day period is going to be a great opportunity for these challengers. So that's something that will be offered as well. And if you're thinking, when are those going to be? We talked about this, and we decided that once our new challengers are welcomed into the group, we will do a poll in the group that will give them 3 different options for times. And then whatever time is the dominant choice, right? Like if it's Sunday night or Monday night, it'll most likely be an evening. That's what we'll go with for this first 30 days. So we figured rather than set the time, we will look to see what works for most people. Some other themes that we've come up with for this particular group, Family Friday. So as we talked about, even in our household health launch party, making this a family change, making this, a family approach is really what we want to encourage. So it might be small steps for some people, right? Like encouraging them to have their family try the Fix8 Sloppy Joes might be like the first step, right? Or it might be to substitute healthier options for their kids or whatever. For other people, it might look a little different. So that's something that we want to feature in the lead posts or just in the content in general, is just to have these sort of themes over the weekends. Family Friday, Celebration Saturday, asking them to celebrate their small wins for the week. Very similar actually to what Tara had shared in the virtual gym today, right? Like share with us something that is winning for you this week. And then Self-Care Sunday. So on Sunday afternoons, that's when we'll get to see some videos, live streams in the Facebook group from some of our master coaches. So for those that are leading the group, that are certified master coaches, they're going to be covering various topics. We're going to be covering various topics that are in alignment with the Ultimate Portion Fix. So topics that we feel comfortable leading. Those topics will be advertised in advance. So we're kind of up in the air right now as to whether those are going to happen around 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., sometime early afternoon on Sunday afternoons. Natalie's internet was a little spotty today, so we didn't come up with a decision, and then I haven't heard from her since. So she's on the ship. But as soon as she gets back, we'll land on a distinct time for those Sunday afternoon live streams. That's just going to be a situation where it's literally we say, like, Jenny Swisher is live streaming on Sunday at 2 about meal prep. And next Sunday at 2, Jackie is live streaming about, incorporating your kids into a healthy lifestyle or whatever. So we provide the topic in advance. It's a 15 to 30 minute live stream led by the master coach. That's just a piece of value that we'll be adding on Sundays. Does that make sense so far? Good? Okay. So, well, actually, before I get to this, so what I'll say here is this, and I should have probably kicked this off by saying this. I feel personally like this particular program has the power to be huge. Not only, first and foremost, to change a lot of people's lives, but really to explode our businesses to the next level. When the 21 Day Fix came out on DVD 5 years ago and the Portion Fix came out, it totally propelled coaches' businesses, mine included, right? Like, had it not been for 21 Day Fix, I don't know if my business even would have succeeded as well as it did, because at that time, the types of people that I brought in ended up being people that resonated with me, the lifestyle resonated with them, we connected on a certain level. It just was a really cool thing to be a part of. And I think that Autumn has a way of just kind of knowing what the Coach Network needs and knowing what people in general need and how to make things work for people in the way that really can change their life. So I think that this group has so much power to really just, like I said, not only change our challengers' lives, but really help us propel our business to the next level. So that's why we're putting thought and planning and everything into this group, because we want it to be something that really does deliver value and creates an exceptional environment. So I should have said that first. Okay, so why would you do this? Like, why would you hop into a Body Electric group? Or I should say, Warrior Electric. Why would you hop into our group as opposed to leading your own? So this is something that Natalie and I talked about in depth. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. And my feelings are these, okay? The nutrition focus with Ultimate Portion Fix, in my opinion, is better served with a larger group of people because of the energy and excitement that a larger group brings. I don't know if you guys remember the 2B Mindset launch that we did right after it launched this past year. The first group that we offered, the launch group, was the best group. If anybody else has had an awesome 2B Mindset group since then, please let me know. I'm sure there's been one or two. But for the most part, when it comes to having people check in on their nutrition and really open up and turn this into a lifestyle and incorporate their family, in my experience, people tend to do that when they're part of a larger group where they get to see how other people incorporate this in their life, right? They can connect with people on different levels. we were talking about this on the brainstorm session that we had with some of the leaders on our teams. We talked about how there are really two different types of people. There are, I think it was Katie that said the first time she ever saw the containers, she just started using them without really knowing what they were for, right? She just started using them and then later was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do with it. Me, I'm sort of like the perfectionist. So I wasn't about to start using those containers until I had read all the way through that guidebook, until I understood everything having to do with the container system, right? So there's two different types of people out there. And the more that, if Katie and Jenny were in a group together, most likely one is going to inspire the other to take action. So you guys always, this, right? Like there's always going to be challengers who don't hop in on day one, right? They have excuses, they have whatever, like they're just not all on board. So those people in a larger group setting, when they start to see other people having results or other people incorporating this or other people trying different meals, or they see somebody's picture of their tacos, or they see a picture of this lady who has 6 kids and she's making it happen. They see that and they're like, oh yeah, I really have no excuse. I need to do this, right? Whereas if it's your small group of like 5, 6, 7 challengers or whatever, it's a little bit harder to do, because then it's like there might not be people that fully resonate with the others. So in my opinion, the larger groups, when it comes to the nutrition focused group, tend to work better. If it's fitness focused, it's a little bit different. But in my opinion, nutrition equals bigger group. Number 2, the more coaches that we have who are certified with Fix8 experience, the better we can serve. A lot of us have been doing this Portion Fix system for a long time, so we have a lot of value to add to our challengers. It creates an environment that breeds coaches. So when our clients start to see different coaches live streaming, they see different coaches by way of lead posts, they see people checking in every day, and they start to get a feel for our teams, it might make them more comfortable to see how this could work in their life, right? Like if I was if I was a challenger hopping in this, knowing nothing about the coaching opportunity or that it would ever be an option for me, if I hopped into a large team-led group where I got to see several different types of coaches, different backgrounds, working different types of full-time jobs or whatever, if I got to start seeing that, I would start to see how this could maybe work in my life too. Coaching could maybe work in my life too, right? And if I saw that, I might even be more inclined to reach out about it or to be open to the opportunity if my coach brought it up to me. So in my experience, I feel like when I used to try to lead my own personal groups of people with just a handful of people, I would struggle because I would get objection after objection after objection from people when I asked them about coaching, because they would say things to me like, well, I'm not a personal trainer like you, or I'm not a nutritionist like you, or I'm not this like you, or I'm not that like you, or whatever, right? They would see the types of things that they thought I was doing, and it was an automatic excuse that they couldn't do it. When we started doing team-led groups and there were multiple coaches participating and leading, that's when it really started to open up their horizons to be more of an environment that would lead to more coaches, because they started to connect with other people on the team. They started to see how this could work in their life. So I think it's a really powerful thing to do in this way. I think it's a great way to not necessarily scare people away from the coaching opportunity. Number 4, we've partnered with Natalie and her team. This is like their area of strength, right? Their 2B mindset groups were the most successful groups they've ever run. 21 Day Fix was big for Natalie back in the day as well. So nutrition is sort of their area of focus too. So partnering up with another team is going to be rock solid as well. Last but not least, if you're still thinking, right, like I really want to do my own group or my own team-led group, I would encourage you to come up with a way to make both of these things work, right? Like maybe there's a way for you to offer small Zooms for your challengers or your team's challengers, or I think Katie even mentioned using the My Challenge tracker for her clients to upload their worksheets so that she can help them more on a one-on-one basis, but then still plugging them into the larger group as the primary hub. So that's just something that I would encourage for you, because I really do think that we're putting so much time and energy and effort into making sure that this group delivers, that I would hate for you to not be a part of that. I would hate for you to choose otherwise. Okay. So this program has the power to change lives. When people get results, they will naturally want to become working coaches. It's just a natural thing, right? Just like They have great results with 21 Day Fix in 30 days. They learn a lot of stuff about nutrition. They feel like they want to pay it forward. And they've already got this off. Guess what? We have a round 2 of it coming up at the end of April. So it's a natural thing for them to invite to. They don't feel like they have to come in and learn a business and run something from the get-go because they see how our team is doing it as a team. The group itself creates social proof, and the connections that people make is amazing. One of my favorite things about this business, period, is when I get to see challengers or coaches, but most of the time challengers, connect outside of the challenge group. So when I see something on my newsfeed about 2 challengers who've become friends on Facebook and they're commenting on each other's kids' pictures, it's cool to me because it's 2 people that connected because they both came into my challenge group at the same time, right? And so they're not only changing their life from a health perspective, but they're also building relationships too, which is really cool. So I think this is going to be a really cool opportunity for our challengers. That's why I'm talking about it nonstop on my social. That's why I'm talking about the Fix nonstop, because it is such a game changer. But I also think it's going to be a great opportunity for our team, for us to really kind of see what we can do. Because I think each of us have different areas of expertise, and running challenge groups and getting people results, really all of us are good at doing. So when we put our heads together and we all do it together, I think we have some amazing potential for making this a really cool environment. So as you know, as we go with these types of things, we make tweaks, we make adjustments. So I can't sit here and tell you that everything I just said will apply for the second round, but this is something that we've decided to go with for the month of April. See how it's working, see what types of things are resonating. If people aren't tuning into the weekly Zooms or whatever, we might nix that for round 2, but we don't know until we try. So we want to try all these different things to see how we can best deliver value to these challengers and make sure that they follow through. Because like I said 100 times, and like you guys know, when they log into that Ultimate Portion Fix the very first time, they're going to be like, whoa, this is a lot, right? They need the guidance, they need the coaching, they need the support and accountability, and that's where we come in. So does anybody have any questions that I did not cover in that? It's really weird when I do the screen share because I can't see any of you. So I mean, like, you guys could have been like flipping me the bird the whole time and I have no idea. So are there any questions, or does that make sense? Okay. So what I was hoping we could do, because I knew that would be short and sweet, was if you guys want to stay on, I'm happy to chat, especially anybody that's still pushing for Success Club this month, and just talk about what types of things are working or not working for you. I will tell you that one of the things that I have found, so first of all, I'm going to tell you that email marketing always works pretty well for me. I've honestly only sent 2 email blasts out this month. I feel like I could have done more. Ellery being sick and me being sick has not helped that much. But the email marketing piece is always big. But for me on my social, I don't know if it was this week's National Wake Up Call girl or who was that said this. It might have been her. But I think was it her that said something like, don't post a picture of your food if it's just like a piece of fish and broccoli or something. And I laughed so hard because I was like, how true is that, right? Like, there's no way that you can photograph a piece of fish and have it look good. So please do not photograph your fish. But I have been thinking about, I've been showing a lot of just food pictures in general. I personally, our family is dairy free. So I've been talking a lot about that type of thing lately. And it's been interesting how many people have reached out to me just to ask me for dairy-free recipes or dairy-free tips because their kids have a dairy allergy or whatever. And so I've started conversations with people about Fixate. Like, literally, I just usually come back to them with, have you ever tried Fixate? Have we ever talked about Fixate? Usually they say no, and then that leads right into, well, this would be a great solution for you, and it would equip you with a lot of things that you could use. So that's something that's working for me, is showing my food, offering value. Today I posted a picture of like unhealthy muffins for kids versus healthy muffins for kids. So I just thought I'd share. But anybody else want to share what's working or have any questions about where you might feel stuck? Because I know we're in the last 4 days of the month. So I wanted to kind of open this up for any questions.
So no question, but I do have something that's been working really good for me this week. I actually meant to share it in the Leaders United page too, but I did an email blast. Just coming from the point of view of how I felt when I first started the fix the first time and being super overwhelmed, which is like, oh my gosh, trying to overhaul my life. And I had the most responses to that email than I've ever had to any email before. So just kind of like taking it back to what it's like to start and kind of telling the story, the emotions that went with that went really well for me.
I love that. And I think that's something that Sarah, you and I had talked about on the phone too. Like we were talking about how we're both into nutrition, but compared to a lot of people, right? Like we're a little bit further down the spectrum of understanding nutrition as far as like reading a nutrition label or understanding what types of foods or balanced meals, what they look like, right? And so what can be difficult sometimes is you forget what it felt like to start. And so I love that you just said that, Jennifer, because I think even for me, like talking about the dairy-free thing attracts certain people, but for some it might alienate, right? Like for some it's probably like, what? I could never not eat cheese. So, which, I mean, honestly, truth be told, like I was eating like half a box of Cheez-Its every day when I started the Ultimate Portion, or when I started the 21-day fix. So thinking about like what your step one looked like and using that in your marketing, like how did this start for you? Because that, you know, that the truth be told, there are a lot of people out there that just don't know what they don't know. And so how can we bring awareness to what it is they don't know?
Jenny, I know you and I talked earlier this week, but I figured like, and I'll maybe talking to everybody, maybe somebody else will have something to share, but I thought this would be like my jam because I am so into nutrition. And even with like making posts and doing stuff here lately, it's almost like I've had people get scared away from me versus reaching out to me, because I've been posting like my IG stories and sharing like the food and stuff like that. And I'm going to do a live video tomorrow just to show how simple like my meal prep is. But it's more like people like feeling like they're scared about it now because I've been posting so much more of it. So now I'm just like, I'm at a loss for what I thought was going to be like my big ticket month again. But I don't know if anybody has any ideas or suggestions. Some people might have seen my social.
Can I just say something real quick, Sarah?
Uh-huh.
I think what you just said about talking about how you meal prep could be something beneficial, because when I see your food posts, they're beautiful, and you're like making this fancy, and I'm like, I cooked, I chopped up chicken and kale and I threw it in my pan and I sauteed it. But like yours is beautiful. Like, how did it go from store to Sarah's plate? Because
Gotcha.
you use these wonderful things that I don't even know how to cook.
Okay. Gotcha.
Sarah, I was going to kind of say the same thing out of love. I look at your food and it is straight up restaurant party planner food, and it is beautiful and wonderful. But I think if you can show people, just like Tara said, that in what doesn't take a lot of time for people like you and me, because this was a lot of self-reflection for me too, I think might be different. I love Jennifer's post, I think it was last week or something, where you were like, here's my meal prep I did in under an hour. I chopped veggies, I chopped apples, I hard-boiled eggs, I made muffins, done. Like, I love being in the kitchen. I know that's true about you too, Sarah. My meal prep takes most of the day on Sunday, and I'm okay with that because it's also like somebody else watch these children, mommy's cooking. It's kind of my day, and it's my thing, and I'm okay spending multiple hours in the kitchen on Sunday getting prepped for the week. But I think you all know that, or you know that we all worship you and your food. But when I see your food, it is not something I feel like I can do. So okay. I think giving people that backstory, not just here's what it looks like when it's done, but here's how I got there, because I don't want it to come off like don't post that, because I also think it's amazing for you to show people, hey, here's how you can make a beautiful meal and have date night in. because you post about that a lot, and yours
Yeah.
looks like food I would pay a lot of money for at a restaurant. So show people how to make that beautiful meal. And I think
Okay,
even
that's
doing like a quick live stream or some of those, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but even the time lapse, like if you set video to the time lapse mode, it's all the way on the left, and you just set it up to record you cooking. That's like Jennifer and I post our workouts using that one. So you don't have to speed it up with a different app, but just showing people what you're actually doing to make all that beautiful food, I think
Okay.
might make it a little more approachable.
okay.
I don't think I've ever seen Sarah live stream herself cooking, but I think that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll
never-
come over and we could do like a live
I'm not
cooking
telling
class.
you that. I'm not going to tell you
Show
that.
me.
I'm not going to tell you that I don't watch you live stream, because I do on occasion. But if you were in the kitchen, I'd be like, I need to watch this right now.
Gotcha. Okay, and the only reason why I don't is usually because I have like Sawyer hollering at me in the background, or I'm having to
okay.
stop and like,
But that's
whatever.
what life is like. We want to
Yeah.
see that.
Okay,
That's what makes
Yeah.
it real.
yeah, good feedback. Awesome, ladies. Thank you.
Yeah, the other day you posted something, and I forget what it was, but it was something like peach or apricot marinated pork chops or something. I was like, who even partners those things together? Like, how did you even know to do that? Like, was that in a book? Did you just know that? Did you just make that up? Like, I don't know. Like, unless Autumn writes it in a book and says like half teaspoon of this, like, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's good to know though, right? Like most people really want you to show them, like literally show them what they need to do, or they assume the worst. They assume it's going to take the whole day in the kitchen. Or what I've also seen happen is they assume that they have to eat like chicken and rice and broccoli for every meal. I loved the post that was somebody posted in the virtual gym this week asking about meal prep, like wanting to know how to save time. And I love that we had so many different coach perspectives comment on that, because we all do it differently. Some of us spend the day in the kitchen on Sunday. Some of us like to do just the same meal every day for lunch, just to make it easy. Some of us like to divide up our meal prep. Like there was so many different ways, and I could tell that it just offered up so many different options for people, which is cool. I also like, I've been trying to mock some of what Autumn, I need to do this tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but my no napping toddler, I shouldn't say that. She did nap today. She's been a challenge this week, but Autumn's been posting on her personal Autumn Calabrese page different things too. And one of the things that she posted was, I think it's a salad, or I'm looking it up. It's some sort of recipe. And it was like a picture of, or a video of where is it? It's like I don't know, it's of a salad, but basically she has it all in the containers, so where it kind of looks small. So, like if we show people what the containers look like, they're like, that's all I can eat. And then she takes it and she dumps it all onto the plate. So the video is like of a picture of a salad from like a restaurant. And it's on this big oval plate, just like you'd see like a dinner salad served on. And then you see her take these containers on like a round plate, and she dumps it all in there, and you could see the side by side of like the difference in portion. And it was a cool video for me even to be like, yeah, like that's so true, right? Like showing people that they can overeat on salad. So those very, very simple beginner connective pieces, even the types of things that Autumn is sharing, I think is good stuff for us to replicate too. You guys remember, it was 80 Day Obsession. And like, I laughed so hard because I think it was the National Wake Up Call this week too, where the girl said she used Brittany Leggett's photo, the before and after photo. I was like, we all did. Thank you, Brittany Leggett, for getting those results with 80 Day Obsession. But I know that there have been results with the test group, and I was looking just now to see where those have been posted. I'm sure they're on like a Beachbody page or something. But sometimes people get sick of seeing our before and afters. So sharing other people's before and afters, or people who've done the program before, or sharing, like if you see another coach on our team post their before and after, asking if you can use theirs to show on your social. So those are just new, like if the nutrition thing isn't working for you, like if you're posting your food and it's not working, try something else, like try a before and after, or try a live stream. Cool. Anything else that's working or any other topics for this portion fix?
This is kind of odd, and I'm truly calling my Success Club this month luck. I had people all who have been challengers at some point in the past, and they're all, I'm trying to think through the three of them right now to make sure I am right, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. They're all people who started with a challenge pack and completely fell off, did not complete a program, did not do much of the nutrition, like did not make it through 3 weeks or a month. One of them, I swear she has bought 2 or 3 challenge packs and never gets the nutrition down and kind of gives up because she doesn't really have time for the fitness. So then she tried 2B. And again, I think she was one of the later 2B people. So there just wasn't that super big group with high energy. But I have a list of people to reach out to tomorrow that are former challengers who just haven't stuck with it. You know, they maybe didn't complete a program, or they did one program and I never heard from them again. So that was just an interesting kind of awareness. They responded to one of my social invites earlier in the month, and they were all in terms of this, like, guide me through the nutrition. And they just all happen to be people who have tried before and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. For those of you guys who are not in the Leaders United group, this is something that Natalie had shared today in a live stream. And if you haven't seen that and you are in that group, check it out. But I thought it was really smart. And that is that she said, I think too many coaches are, I forget the word she used, the phrase she used, but she was talking about too many coaches are like seed planting still. Like some of our coaches are like still seed planting and it's 4 days left to go in the month, where really we should be like, this should be like call to action time, like call to action, call to action, call to action. The messaging should change instead of like, you know, let me know, or if you're interested, let's chat, like those types of things, like leaving it open-ended, even on the follow-up. It should be more direct. Like, hey, I think the words she used were, I've been saving this one spot for you in my upcoming group and we kick off on Monday. Should I continue to hold this for you? Are you ready to, pull the trigger tonight so that I can get you added? Or should I circle back to you again at the end of April to see if my second round might be a better fit for you, right? So she's using like very detailed information instead of just that sort of like hoping somebody's going to say, yes, I want to do it right now, right? And I think that's really smart. So that's a great way to kind of think about this too, is, are there people that you're kind of in that position of closing with? Or are there even people that you worked with before who, like Jackie said, have not been able to succeed for whatever reason, who might need, I don't really consider us hand-holding people with this group. I would never say to somebody like, we're going to hand-hold you through this, but we are going to guide them through what I think is the simplest lifestyle, family-friendly approach to food. And if they can commit to it, if they can commit to this group, and if they can commit to plugging in every day, they will see results. So that's a great point. I had a couple people. One was a former customer lead, and another I saw. It was funny because she purchased a challenge pack, and like the very next day, it popped up on my Facebook that we've been Facebook friends for 5 years. It's like that. You have a friendversary. And it was just so funny because I thought to myself, I laughed because I was like, I think I've been talking to her about like this lifestyle for the 5 years we've been friends on Facebook. And she just purchased the challenge pack yesterday. But the point here is that there are people out there who maybe we've helped before that have never fully committed, or that we've talked to a lot that have never fully committed. And those are perfect people to reach out to now. Because if there was ever a program to be confident in, it's this one. Right? Because we know the workouts are optional, but they have access to them. The nutrition is where they're going to get results. So that is a tip as well. Like, be thinking about those people that you can kind of circle back to, or who've kind of fallen off the wagon. And the type of language that I would use for them would be intended to close, right? Like, hey, I wanted to reach out to you. I thought of you specifically because I have this upcoming group starting on Monday that is 100% nutrition focused, workouts optional. It's going to be a great way for some of our team's certified coaches to walk people through how to make nutritional changes that will benefit them in their, over the course of their life, like as a lifestyle. I know we've talked before, and insert problem, right? I know we've talked before, and finding time to meal prep, or getting your husband on board with, healthy eating, whatever the problem is that they've brought up before. I know that's been a problem that you've brought up with me before. And I really think that this group in particular is going to address that spot on, right? Sugar addiction, portions, picky eaters in the family, all those different things we've heard about. I have a spot remaining for this group. Like I said, it starts next week, so I'm going to need an answer pretty quick. Do you think this is something you'd like more info on? Or do you think this is something you'd like to, hop into? That's how I would word a message to somebody. Very specific. You're asking for an answer. And you're also calling attention to the problem that led them to fail the first time, or the problem that keeps them from committing. You're kind of calling them out. Okay, cool. There was something else you said, Jackie, that made me think of something, but I forget what it was now. Are you guys watching all the people on the ship this week on your social? Yeah. It was funny because the last cruise we went on, well, the two Beachbody cruises that we went on before kids, I was the girl that had like the C-band on, the Dramamine fully loaded. Like I get so motion sick. And the first cruise we went on was a really rocky ship. Like it was a smaller ship, which just shows how far Beachbody's come too. Like that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And Chris and I spent the majority of our trip in the, they tell you to go to the bottom of the center of the boat if you're sick. We spent the majority of our 5-day cruise in the bottom of the center of the boat. The second cruise, I got smart, and I figured out that if I had enough wine, I felt like I was moving anyway. So if I just had enough wine for the full week, it was fine. I made a lot of friends on that trip. And so this was funny because I've been seeing these, everything, like people's stories and everything all week. And last night, Chris was like, do you really wish you were on the cruise right now? And at the exact moment he asked, it was like Baby Shark for the 74,000th time one day. And I was like, yes, I wish I was on the cruise right now, even though I'm kind of sick. And he was like, well, here's a video. I think it was Maria or somebody posted a video on their stories. And he's like, do you still want to be on the ship? And it was like somebody that posted, yep, the ship is moving. And it was a picture of their closet on the ship, which is like this big, because your shower is about this big. So the closet's like this big. And the picture of their closet on the cruise ship, like the hangers were going like this. And I was like, thank you for showing me that video. It makes me feel a lot better about not being on the boat. But I don't do motion very well. So,
I was so excited that next year's is not on a boat because I went on one cruise, stuff was falling off the table. I was motion sick. It was miserable. I was so motion sick the entire, and they said like the staff was even like, this is a rocky one. Mm-hmm. But I get motion sick, like driving to the grocery store. So yeah, I was so excited. The first time I can go, it's not going to be on a boat.
On land. Yep. Well, they did. So you guys know the story of my Success Club journey. The first year I decided, because it really is a decision. Like you decide you're going to qualify for the trip. You decide you're going to be a Success Club All-Star. You're making a decision. So for me, I saw there were 2 coaches on my uplines team that had qualified. It was like the first time anybody outside of my upline had qualified for a trip. This was, I don't know, like 7, 8 years ago, whatever. And the 2 of them led a webinar for our upline team about their trip, and it was to the Atlantis in the Bahamas. And I was such a new coach, like I was so new to the whole thing that I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know what Success Club is, but I got to do it because I want to go to the Atlantis. So I just assumed in my head that like this trip was to the Atlantis every year. And this is what you do. You earn it, you go, whatever. So I hit Success Club every day, every month for the next 12 months. I qualified for the trip, and they announced that it was to Disney World. And Chris and I both were like, well, okay, like, so we hate roller coasters, really not big Disney people, but okay, like we earned the trip, we're going, right? Like free park passes, the whole deal. We went to Disney World. And then it's almost been like that. You know, everything every year has been like this. So then we were like, next year, Atlantis. It's going to be the Atlantis. And they were like, a cruise. And I'm like, I am the most motion sick person in the world. So it's literally been like every year. Finally this year, when they said it was a cruise again, I was like, I'm throwing in the towel. I was like, I want to go back to Disney now. Like, why can't we go back to Disney? I've got a 2-year-old. She'd love it. You know, never works out the way you want it to. But yeah, I'm glad that next year is it Punta Cana next year or Mexico? Punta Cana? Yeah. I could never get it.
I just realized I don't even know where it is, but there's a beach and I'm going.
I'm just glad it's not a cruise. That's
I
awesome.
was like, the Mexico, apparently it's not, but I don't know. I'm going.
Are you're taking your mom, right?
Probably, yeah.
I don't remember if that was you or Laura or maybe both
Both
you.
of us, I think. Yeah, Derek can never go because of baseball, so and my mom or my sister, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Leadership is in Scottsdale, Arizona this October, and my brother is in Tucson, which is like an hour from there. So we are planning on going to that, and we're going to go as a family, which means, and so it's hard for Success Club trip because Chris only gets 4 personal days a year as a teacher. So if he comes to leadership in the fall, he won't be able to go on the Success Club trip. So the last couple of years have been kind of like that, where it just doesn't make sense for him to take off school for a
Is
week.
Success Club not on your spring break?
No,
No? Oh,
his spring break is next week.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's always really late. And Tara, are you guys on break now? Yeah, you do look more rested today. I thought you did.
Girl, you don't even know. I was mad when my daughter woke me up at 6:15.
Oh, wow. I bet
We
that
started to try crying it out with Hogan, so we've been awake since 2. Not going well.
it's worth it in the long run.
I know, Holly was so easy. We're spoiled. I was like, I'm done.
How long is he crying?
Last night was like an hour and 15 minutes, and I let Derek pick him up and rock him on and off, but I was like, I'm not feeding him, but you can rock him. And then he went right to bed. So I'm like, at least we didn't feed him. He's not hungry. The kid eats so much between like 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. He shouldn't be able to sleep because of his stomach should be hurting. But he sleeps till 2:20 and then Party City.
We had what do they call? Do they call it extinction? Like where you just like close the door and let him go, right? We did that with Ellery.
If he were a little older, I'd let it go more than I
How
did.
old is he?
5.5 months.
Yeah, I could see that. Ellery was 8 months, and so we were starting to get a feel for her personality. But the funny thing was, I wish we would have done it sooner because by 8 months she was sitting up.
Yeah.
And so at 8 months, like we cried it out. And like, if you guys knew, like she would, the first 3 nights of it, she fell asleep sitting up. So she would literally cry herself to sleep and she was asleep like this, like sitting up. And then we'd watch her on the monitor just go and like tip over. And Chris and I both were like, if we would have just done this at like 6 months, right? Or whatever, she would have probably just cried herself to sleep and it would have been easy. But it's still like, I tell people all the time, like best decision we ever made. It was the hardest 3 nights for me. I put earplugs in and played music really loud and Chris watched the monitor, but it was the best decision we ever made because she's never been in our bed. This week when she was sick, I didn't know what to do because she kept crying. And so I finally, after like 3 times of going in her room, I was like, okay, you're coming to bed with me. It was like one of the first times in her life that I brought her to bed. I didn't feel good. She didn't feel good. I didn't want to keep going up and down the stairs. So I brought her to our bed and she was in our bed for like 15 minutes. She was like tossing and turning and kicking us. And finally she goes, I want to go Ellery's bed is what she said. And I was like, me too. Let's go to Ellery's bed. So I took her upstairs and that was it. Like, it's almost like she needed that, you know, like mommy can't do anything. I'm just going to have to suffer. So for us personally, it was a great decision for her, but I've heard horror stories about kids that cry for hours. So I wish you the best of luck.
Sawyer cried for hours and didn't sleep through the night till he was 18 months. So there's that.
I know. You're
I
saying
would have cried with him. I would have been crying with him.
these my eyes are never coming back without these. I'm convinced. Oh well.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else for you guys. If you guys have any other questions or anything about Ultimate Portion Fix, please let me know. The group's been created. Hopefully you guys are in it, adding your people, tagging them in the comments of that welcome post. If you are someone who is bringing in 3 clients to this group, hitting Success Club in the month of March, and you're certified or getting certified, please let me know so you can be added to the lead post plan. Last but not least, this is totally off topic, but I was going to ask Jackie anyway. Jackie, have you heard of, I know you guys like to do like those, what are they called? Not like Great Wolf Lodge, but some sort of
or water park type things.
Yeah. You guys have gone there a couple times, I think.
We've gone to Wisconsin Dells twice.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you'd heard of this place. Chris's brother works for the Marriott, and he told us about this place we'd never heard of before, but it's like an hour and a half from us, and it seems to be about an hour and a half outside Chicago. So it's got to be halfway between us and you. And it's called Fair Oaks Farms.
Mm-hmm. It's on 65. I've driven by like 9 million times.
Yeah. So
never been though.
Okay. So his brother told us about it, and we looked it up, and long story short, it's like an actual farm, like living farm. And they have in their hotel, they have 2 or 3, I think it's 3 farm to table restaurants. Like everything is like farm to table in like food service in their hotel, which that was for me like, woo, that sounds awesome. So we're going at the end of April, we're meeting Chris's cousins who are from up there for a weekend there, but I didn't know if you'd been there before or heard of it.
I didn't know there was a hotel.
Yeah, so the red barn itself is like, the hotel itself looks like a big red barn. It's really cool. And they obviously have like a working farm. You can go watch them like milk the cows and all that stuff. So if you find them on Facebook, you can see, and they're actually getting ready to build I forget how big it is, this huge like water park that will open in 2020 that will be part of it as well.
Awesome.
So
I just added the hotel because I drive past it all the time to my parents, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And they just recently added that hotel in.
Yeah. It's cool. It's very cool looking. So this girl that I went to high school with was there for work, and cool, Tara. Yeah, so we're excited to take Ellery because even though I grew up on a farm, she's never seen a farm animal outside of Conner Prairie. So I thought I'd tell you about it in case you ever wanted to make the venture out. All right, you guys, officially done. I'll post the recording in the team page tomorrow, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.